Hello everybody and welcome to the webinar #Rainbow Gems. And today we're launching a national campaign that we can all run on as a community to support the wonderful campaign that has started out there using rainbows. So I would first of all ask, you can see that this slide is illustrated with some wonderful photographs of some jewellery by Ungar and Ungar, and in this case Andrew Gagan. But I really would ask anybody who's a supplier out there, please contact me and we can look at using your jewels when I'm doing these further presentations. So as I say, if you don't know me, my name is Dimmick. I'm a jewellery specialist, a gemologist, a diamond grader, but principally I have two loves, and that's people and jewellery, and it's putting the two together. And in this world when we're in lockdown, it's in quite a different way. It's virtually, so it's a new experience, it's a new challenge, but one that I'm very much enjoying. So welcome, and thank you very, very much for joining me. There are several people I need to thank. It's a funny time, but there has been so many acts of kindness, and I've been so grateful to so many people who have supported me, most especially to a wonderful gentleman, Jayant Raniga from Pure Jewels, who has helped me by uploading all of this software onto my system, onto my website. He's supported me through the technology, and we all know that's not my strongest point, and he's given his time graciously and generously to support me. So thank you very, very much. So I've received lots of questions from all of this. This website and this seminar is available through YouTube. And going forward, it's really important that you tell me what you would like. I'm planning to do a weekly webinar, but please you tell me what you would like me to train you on. My thoughts are perhaps we ought to do something on understanding diamonds, on a royal celebration of diamonds, on all sorts of remodeling and getting back to business. But the timing is really important, and the method is as well. So what I would probably do is I'll probably do selling diamonds through the National Association of Jewellers, and I will work in conjunction with people where I think I can get this out to the largest and the most suitable audience. I'm also going to be working with the company with Master Jewellers, and I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback about what people would like to see. As you know, jewellery I think is incredibly important, and I think it's got a really important role to play at this time. Since the dawn of time, man has adorned himself, and most especially at this time when we're living in quite a precarious, unknown environment, there is a renewed interest and relevance to the wearing of jewellery. I think you've only got to look at the Queen when she gave the presentation to all of the nation. I don't know if you noticed the brooch she was wearing, but she was wearing a turquoise and diamond brooch. And this had been given to her by, well, been left to her by Queen Mary. And the turquoise was so powerful. That is a symbol of remembrance. It's literally a turquoise for forget-me-not. So it shows you the power of and language of gemstones. And that's something that we'll be very much looking at today. So what I want to achieve today, first of all, we're going to build on that amazing campaign of hope, which is the rainbows in the window. It's very important, though, that we are very sensitive to what's happening out there. We're living in a pandemic. There are hundreds and thousands of people dying. And whereas it's important that I think we promote this campaign to keep stay home, I'm also conscious that there's a lot of you out there with a business that ideally needs to keep turning. So as we say, we're locked down, but we're not locked out. So this is a strategy to think about all that stock that you're sitting on at the moment, be it in your shop or wherever, that isn't being used. And I'm hoping that this is a way that we can interpret, celebrate, and connect that stock with all those people that are out there and perhaps needing something to put a smile on their faces. So to that end, I'm going to introduce you to some gemstone training. I'm saying introducing because this isn't a full gemological course, but as I say, my passion is where we connect with gemstones. So I'm looking at how we might respond and how we might interpret that particular gemstone for each person. But then we're launching a national campaign. This is about a framework that each and everybody that I hope is listening can use this, because it can be tailor-made and individualized. But by the power of the collective, by using this #Rainbow Gems, we're all united in a strategy to reach out. I'm then going to signpost you to other people in the industry who are also doing lots of work like this as well. To start, I really do need to thank Caroline from Ainsworth Jewellers. She posted this Facebook post last week. I thought it was brilliant, and it gave me the idea as to how we could take it further. So what she put was, it was a lovely ring. It was actually a ring made of rainbows of sapphires by Patrick Noble. And it just said, ask customers, how are they? It was asking if anybody was interested in this piece, but it then said, what's your favourite coloured piece? And it gave me the idea that we can really start a very sensitive and very timely dialogue. But where did it all come from? I'm sure everybody has seen these rainbows in windows. They were started by children for children, they were all enjoying them. The idea was to put a picture in a window that had been drawn by a child, and this is our example, to spread joy and hope and a message of solidarity. It had started in Italy, but has now spread across the world. And the rainbow symbol is so relevant and so apt. A rainbow is something to motivate us and to give us hope to endure through dark times. It's ideally sent to bring us good luck and peace and fortune. There's some folklore that suggests there's a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. I'm not sure that that's the case, otherwise I think we'd all be very wealthy, but it is something to connect us. And I think that's really why I think this is so relevant, because just as this webinar is done, it's to bring us all together. So for those of you that are familiar with the gemstones, what I've tried to do is I've taken the spectral colours of the rainbow, and then I've looked to represent this with either the most popular or the most relevant gemstone. And in each example, I've tried to give you 2 gemstones so that hopefully whatever stock you've got or whatever you have, you can find something that is relevant. There is a challenge, and that is because we actually all see colour differently. So assigning a gemstone to a colour was a bit of a challenge. And the reason we all see colour differently is because it depends on the light that falls on it, the selective absorption of the light through the object, and then finally the residual impact on the brain. So basically we all see colour differently. You can't argue with somebody about what a colour is. And of course gemstones aren't just produced in red or blue, they are on a continuous spectrum. So just to go back to that, I hope you like that choice. It's up to you which ones you want to put in, but I've therefore given some information on these as a start to this campaign. And in terms of resources as well, there were lots of other places that I went to. There's some fabulous gemologists out there. There's Kerry Gregory, who I'll talk to you a little bit more. She's doing a lot of follow-up seminars, and she's a real gemologist. Also Rui, who's a fabulous Portuguese gemologist. He's so famous, everyone just knows him as Rui. If you just Google him or get connected on his Facebook, you can then get connected to his webinars. I've seen a couple of them and they are fantastic, so I'd really recommend those. But there's some great books as well that also split the stones into the spectral colours of the rainbow, which would be really helpful for this exercise. You've got Callie Hall, Walter Schumann, and Judith Crowe. You can probably see in my study I have a great library of books. It's my real pleasure and enjoyment. So it's been wonderful to get back into them again. And then from this framework, I've taken the colour of the rainbow, the gemstone, and then try to think about how we can connect with people and how we can outreach a little bit more. So it's just some ideas, but I've split them into the days of the week. And then as well, I've maybe thought about a charitable connection. My local charity, I know, for example, they're going to lose over £1 million this summer by the lack of activities that are happening. And I thought how wonderful, because of the logos that these are, to link them and maybe promote and maybe work together with them. These are some national charities, but you could do it on a local level as well. This is my charity. This is the work that I do in memory of my nana. It's called Annie's Legacy, and it connects with a hospice. I'm actually discussing with the local hospice to see if I can give this to support them, because I think that is so important. So when we look at each of the gemstones, what I've tried to do, as I say, is not be too scientific. So I have put some gemological factors in there. I've only concentrated on 2, the refractive index and the Mohs hardness, because that's related to the beauty of the stone and its durability. And that's where I feel it's very relevant for customers. I've looked at physical properties, the beauty, the symbolism, the emotional connection, even crystal healing. You know, if this is the way in which somebody responds to a gemstone, then I think it's our opportunity to talk to them in that language. I've tried to think out of the box. I thought maybe where the gemstone is from and thinking about connecting us together as throughout the world. Now, some of these links are maybe a little bit tenuous and they might be a little bit bonkers, but the idea was just to start for all of us to think out the box. I'm going to start with sapphire. It's actually my favourite gemstone, but it's also the gemstone that comes in every single colour of the rainbow. So if you wanted to, you could just do this campaign on sapphires. A sapphire it's the gemstone variety of corundum. It's aluminium oxide and it's known for its hardness. It's second only naturally to a diamond. So it's 9 on Mohs scale, which is our standard of hardness. Now, the most prized of those beautiful mid-velvety blues, and why I love a sapphire is when you find a beautiful one, you just want to dive into it and you just get completely lost in it. This is a beautiful ring on this slide. It's by Ungar and Ungar, and I love that royal blue. Sapphires come from Sri Lanka, Australia, Thailand. The Australian ones are often that more dark, inky type of blue, but it is the mid blues that are the most prized. Now with sapphires, if you look at a ring, it's quite nice to share this with your customers, but they don't actually saturate colour evenly. And that's very much where the expertise of the cutting comes in that they're often cut with the colour at the bottom of the facet, which is then allowed to come up and through and out of the stone. You also see angular banding, and that's something that we welcome to see as a gemologist because that ensures that we know it represents the crystal growth and its natural origin. Again, some out of the box ideas, but I was thinking very much that blue is the real colour of the moment, and blue we associate with the NHS. I'm sure, like you, your neighbourhoods are out clapping every Thursday. I get a lump in my throat when this is happening, but I'm going to be now clapping, wearing my sapphire jewellery, and glamorously, I hope, supporting the NHS. So you can wear blue. The other thing I thought was Bombay sapphire. This is a photograph from when I was very fortunate to go with the Growth and Learning day with the CMJ, and we went to the distillery and it was just fantastic. But I used to, if we'd sold a very good sapphire, we used to gift a bottle of Bombay sapphire to the sales team, and it's always become a fun association. And I don't know about you, but if you're drinking your way through it, then that may be something else that you might find an enjoyable association. But I do think it's important to perhaps think and tell your own story. If you're wanting your customers to come back to you and tell them what is meaningful for them, maybe share a little bit about from you why you're in the jewellery trade, or what's your favourite gemstone. For me, it is sapphires. This was me when I was very fortunate to get engaged, and on the right is my jewellery box. That tells the story about every significant moment in my life. And I've referenced here a piece called The Perfect Piece, which is the story written from the CMJ, talking about 3 rings that I wear on my right hand and why they're so significant. But from my engagement ring to earrings to the watch to the bracelet I bought when I was at Tiffany's, they're all sapphires and they're all really special to me. It's nothing to do with the monetary value of them. It's the emotion and the sentiment. And I literally found myself the other day wanting the reassurance of putting my jewellery on. So again, it's that feeling which is so important. Another gemstone, in the blue variety, goodness me, excuse me. In for the blue is aquamarine. A much paler, a much softer blue, and actually, as the name means, comes from seawater. It's the precious form of beryl. Its hardness is 7 to 7.5. Now, why I've mentioned this is because as a gemstone that you want to wear permanently, you ideally want to look for a hardness that is over 7. 7 is what we see with quartz, and quartz can be airbound and can also erode the gemstone. So if your gemstone has got a hardness over 7, then you'd be more comfortable in saying that that's something that you can wear permanently. It's the gemstone for March, but we often see it, as in these examples, with that deco styling. It's a fantastic, beautiful colour. found in Brazil, Russia, and in lots of places. Now, Brazil has a fantastic, this is I wanted to show you again, outreach ideas. This is the tiara and parure that belongs to Queen Elizabeth, and it was given to her on her coronation from the people of Brazil. It's just the most stunning piece. But again, you can think about what's been in the news. A couple of years ago, Meghan inherited Diana's aquamarine ring. They've been very, very popular. But I was trying to think about what was timely. Again, it may be a bit tenuous, but we are seeing lots of pictures of the sea on Facebook, positive, beautiful pictures. And for me, these had an aquamarine shoreline. So you can maybe bring aquamarines like that. But moving on to the indigo onto the spectrum, and tanzanite. Now, tanzanite is the perfect gemstone to represent indigo and also the spread of the colour, because tanzanite is actually what we call trichroic. And that means that it shows different colours from different angles. So depending on the 3 angles in which you look at the gemstone, it can appear more blue, violet, or burgundy. Now, tanzanite is actually the sort of more marketing, more commercial name for the blue variety of zoisite. And it was Tiffany's that gave it this name because they felt it was more romantic than blue zoisite. This is a beautiful piece. This is a pendant and brooch by Feilu. And in there you can see you can see a tanzanite that's 103 carats. It's just stunning. Violet. Violet I wanted to represent with amethyst. Amethyst is a variety of quartz, which in this case contains iron, which gives it that amazing violet colour. You often see the crystals, you see them in geodes, and you often see the rock crystal at the bottom with only the terminations being this sort of purple colour. Now, I thought this was very relevant at the moment because it's often associated with drunkenness. The name of it actually comes from the Greek word, not drunken. And this is illustrated with a wonderful example by Andrew Gagan, and it's called Let's Go Fly a Kite. And I'm sure we'll all be doing that at some stage soon. Ruby. Ruby had to be the gemstone for red. It's the bright red variety of corundum, the colour caused by the presence of chromium. Now, chromium is incredibly rare across the earth, but when we do see it, it really gives this, it's an amazing colouring agent. And really in red, it has the most magnificent effect. In some rubies, they even glow. And when you get the filming them and the camera on them, they look incredible. Rubies are also the gemstone for Leo and for July, but they're incredibly rare to find in good quality, often without inclusions and a really beautiful colour, rarer than diamonds even. And so for that reason, they really are so precious and the most fantastic meaning of true love. The colour is associated with fire and passion. And this example is by Feilu. And this ring is in one of my favourite books, which is my coffee table book by Joanna Hardy. And this is just stunning. And there's so many fantastic, beautiful visual examples of this incredible gemstone in here. Perhaps though, a more commercial and more accessible red gemstone is the garnet. Now, the garnet is a fascinating group of gemstones. They are all related in composition and their crystal structure, but they differ by the elements inside. And so in this instance, I want to look at pyrope and almandine, which are the red versions. Again, a good hardness, over 7, found all over South Africa, Russia and Sri Lanka, but often you may remember the beautiful sort of late Victorian pieces of garnet. It's often known as Bohemian, but that's when you see, it was a very, very popular gemstone. But garnet is also what's the first gemstone to appear in the anniversary celebration. And you can see here I've noted the years that each gemstone represents. This is an example, these are my mum's earrings that she received on her 2nd wedding anniversary. So they're very, very sentimental and very precious to her. Now, you can shoehorn pretty much any gemstone in these years, and I've seen all sorts of different gemstones allocated to different years, but I've just tried to give you a representation of when these might be most relevant and when you might want to use them. Diamond I see appearing a lot, so hey, that's good for all of us. We might be able to receive more diamonds over the years. Into the orange spectrum, and the orange had to be represented by a fire opal. not an illustration here because there's not really very many examples of fire opals. We'd love to see some more, but perhaps they're most especially prized when you see as well the orange colour, but the play of colour inside. They're not as hard, but their beauty really does overwhelm us. We know of the important examples in Mexico, but also all over the world, and they even actually appear in as red as well. But another gemstone I wanted to look at for the orange spectrum was amber. Now, amber is organic, so a lovely contrast. It's actually fossilized natural plant resin. Now, this isn't hard. It's amorphous and it's only got a hardness of 2.5. But you know, this is something that I think to celebrate, because that's actually how we interact with it. Because when we touch it, it feels tactile. It has that softness to it. And in fact, actually, that's supposed to have a very healing quality. You will see it's very comforting. It's often used in teethers, for example, and babies bite on the beads. But amber is actually also prized for the inclusions that are in there. You can sometimes see insects and spiders and some very valuable examples. For me, it had a personal connection. Last year, we went to St. Petersburg and I was blown away by the amber room. You're not allowed to take photographs, so there are no photographs in there. It's a photograph of a book that we bought. But again, maybe that's something you can connect with your customers and with the general public. Have you been traveling? What have you seen? Or inspire people to go to somewhere that was special to you. It would certainly be on my list to go back again. Yellow, citrine. And this is, on a beautiful sunny day like today, the representation of the sun. Citrine is the yellow variety of quartz, which is of course one of the most abundant materials in the Earth's crust. It does have, because of this colour, this wonderful crystal healing with the association of the sun. Coloured by iron, although most of the gemstones are actually heat-treated amethyst. And it's also an alternative gemstone or birthstone for November, so you can have lots of applicable uses for it there. I also thought with yellow, we'd look at yellow diamonds. Diamonds, of course, by trade represent 95% of the world's trade in gemstones. Diamond is crystallized carbon, but they most readily form a yellowish color because the carbon reacts with nitrogen, and nitrogen causes the yellow. It's the hardest gemstone known to man. It's also the brightest with the brilliance, found all over the world: Canada, Russia, Botswana, Australia. But with a coloured diamond, a fancy coloured diamond, only one crystal in 10,000 is a fancy coloured. We know how diamonds are very rare. Fancy coloured diamonds are even rarer. It's also the birthstone for April. Very timely and apt. Now, I'm going to be doing a lot more on understanding diamonds and selling diamonds, and that will start next week. But I wanted to very much give you this taster for diamonds. Because the other reason, of course, they're so relevant is because of the property of fire. Fire is the splitting of the spectral colours into the rainbow caused by the crown facets when you cut a gemstone. So here, for example, you can just see the prism and you can see the spectral colours of the rainbow coming out. So perhaps this is a way to educate and inform and celebrate with your customers. But fire is also prevalent in another gemstone, and in this case, it's demontoid garnet. This is the most rare, most valuable form of green garnet. It's often from the Ural Mountains in Russia. Now, it actually has a fire and a brilliance that's greater than sapphire, and it's so strong that you can actually see it even in the green body colour. Now, I've given you an example here of a lizard or a salamander brooch, because the salamander brooch is the Roman symbol of wedded bliss. And we think why this might occur. Well, as a lizard, if you think about it in nature, it has to survive, losing its tail or, all sorts of circumstances where it has to really cope. And so really it's known to survive and thrive. And I also thought this might be quite a helpful symbol for those of us in couples who are in lockdown. Another green variety is emerald, perhaps the first one we would think of. This is the bright green variety of beryl, also coloured by chromium, but also vanadium. Now, with gemstones, we often look for a freedom from inclusions, but with emeralds, we actually celebrate them. They're called the jardin. They can be quite diagnostic. We can tell, for example, with three-phase inclusions that they're from Colombia or from India or wherever. But it is really something that's rather lovely about the gemstone. For an emerald as well, it has its own cut. It's an emerald cut, which you've all heard of, and that is a more square stone, which holds the body colour in, but cut corners to protect it, because although it's hard, it's not as tough. And so often, due to its atomic structure, it may be more vulnerable, but that cut really does help protect it. Another green gemstone, peridot. This is the transparent gem variety of the mineral olivine. It actually comes from a French word which actually means gold. And if you look at the colour, it is that greeny gold, sort of grassy colour. A birthstone for August, again, coloured by iron. But what's special about a peridot is that it's often used, well, we often find it, and it's an indicator because we then further find diamonds. So it's kind of a gemstone that I think leads the way for us. And that's a nice thought at this time. And maybe with peridot, you can think about how it leads you on to other ideas. For example, I'm passionate about Egyptian jewellery. It's what I wrote my dissertation on. I wrote my dissertation on the language of hieroglyphics in ancient Egyptian jewellery because I'm passionate about the symbolism that the jewellery represents. So, of course, in Egypt, you have a lot of amulets. And the amulets are very representative of the power of that particular person that wants to embody, or that animal. So I just kind of thought maybe what we could do is think about what we wear with that amuletic quality, maybe design your own, or maybe think about what it is that connects you with that particular piece. For Egypt, was a primary source of peridot, and again here it was known as the gem of the sun and was used to ward off evil. Now, it was a favourite of Queen Cleopatra, and she was often wearing it, and it got mistaken for emeralds. But for Egypt, it wasn't about the quality of the gemstone. It was about the symbolism. It was about the colour, and that's what I think is really, really important and resonates with us now. So that's the whole point of this. What's your story? Ask your clients, what's your gemstone story? What's your favourite colour of the rainbow? What's your favourite piece? Reinforce the message to stay at home by asking people to maybe have here a glamour night. Interact with them, but on this theme. As I say, perhaps on a Thursday, you can encourage customers to wear blue. But what about having your own Zoom or your own party and having your own #RainbowGems parties? I know a lot of people are saying, we're not doing our hair, we're not putting our makeup on, we're not getting dressed. Well, maybe let's have an excuse to do that, and let's get everybody together. I'm very fortunate. I'm part of a lovely, wonderful group in Sheffield of female entrepreneurs. We meet every third Tuesday of a month, and we're getting together. We're going to have a glass of wine, we're going to put on our jewellery, and we're just going to celebrate being connected. But as I say, perhaps this is the time to link with your charities. But on your social media, think about your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter. All of these is a great story piece to tell them. And however you tell them, make sure you use the hashtags. So here I've put #RainbowGems, #stay at home, stay safe, #this too will pass. Very important message at the moment. But you can also then hashtag your own business, but use these because as a community, the more we're building up this campaign. So I want to introduce you now to some other people that have helped and where you may want to go next, because if you want some more information, this is the lady. So meet Kerry Gregory. I think she's just fabulous, and here she is. She won NAJ Service Provider of the Year. I proudly call myself a gemologist, but this lady is the gemologist. She has done so much continual practice, but she's also a fabulous person. I'd like to say she's normal. She's not, but that's why I think I love her so much. So what she's doing as well at the moment is she's putting on lots of free online content. She's also going to be doing some more modular courses, and she's also helping the industry support for continual professional development. So you can find her. Here's her Facebook links, here's her website links, but she and I will be working together more and more to hopefully become a sum greater than our parts, and to really ensure that we're providing the industry with a full range of resources. There's other people out there as well. De Beers are offering free online Diamond Foundation course. This is incredible. De Beers have also been supporting me with collateral for my diamond presentations. They've been fantastic. CMJ, going to be launching their own webinars on marketing and all sorts of different resources. And they've asked for us, they've given out a survey. So if you are a CMG member, please contact them or me to say what training support you would like. Hannah is from Buckle Creative. Now, since I've launched this, she's been in touch and she has offered to provide illustrations, cropped images, support on how to use images from a whole range of suppliers and how to get them tailor-made and ready for you to use as collateral in your social media. So more information on that to follow. But isn't this wonderful how everybody is coming together? Now, also coming together, it's time to mention the National Association of Jewellers. They too are providing webinars free of charge and a modular element of their JET elements. But I'm going to be feeding into them to let them know what I'm doing, because that's going to be the central source and hub to work out and to direct you to whatever training that you need. So please have a look at their website. We're all communicating through them. And in terms of follow-up, you know, this isn't just a webinar that appears and then that's the end of it. This is my email address, this is my phone number, and that's my website. I was so pleased, there's so many people getting in touch about this. I'm going to be supporting Caroline from Ainsworth doing individual campaigns, but please, I'm a phone call away. You know, work with me, let's do this together. And that's where I'll end. I will see you all very, very soon. And thank you so much for joining me today.